Back in my day, we had to manually focus our lenses. The shutter closed once a day at noon, and you had to get lucky. It was uphill to the closest woman. You took her shot, and then it was uphill on the way home. Times have changed. Not. We still manually focus. I almost broke character.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
I love how Sony flashes that I'm underexposed by 2 stops, yet there's a head beam in my face and my head is bleeding from the light penetrating into my retinas. You're lying to yourself, Sony. So we have an interesting little comparison. Thypoch. Have you heard of them? You probably haven't. I have, because I'm in the know of the 3D pop world. Dirty Photography Club, this is his favorite lens. And they reached out. And I was like, Thypoch? Yeah, man, I almost bought it. It was in my eBay cart for a bit. There was no deals to be had on it. And they were like, do you want to review it? I'm like, yes. Manual focus 3. They're like the Voigtlander of our day, but Chinese. They know Kung Fu. That wasn't racist. So right now we're on the Sony ZVE1 with the Viltrox 28mm 24.5. It's such the opposite of this look. Like with the cinema red LUTs and then the vintage 3D pop and character of the lens versus science. We'll see it side by side. But first impressions, build quality. They have a unique aperture thing that you have to see up close. Now, I can't think of a situation where this will come in handy in my superhero life, but when you're at 1.4, the reds start appearing as they stop down. Can you even believe it? You could look at that thing instead of the numbers. Oh, wow. The technology in China. How do they do it? They click their way to happiness. I've seen them do it. I'm not old enough to know or care if that was like a feature of older lenses. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that. I don't know, whatever. But it's neat. It's different to my generation. So everything's smooth. They have a thing here on the manual focus. It's like a little wheel. Not sure I'm a fan of you, but whatever. It's tiny for what it is, but slightly heavier than you'd think. Like 337? Don't quote me on that number. I forget already. But let's see it side by side. Clinical science versus vintage character love. My God. It's like when you walk into your grandparents' house and that smell. It's like, oh, I'm at Granny's house. What's cooking, Granny? It's a feel-good time to be back on something new, not like science. You're laying, oh, here, I laid out your bed. It's a cold stainless steel mat. Do you mind that? So side by side, Viltrox clinical alien science versus pleasing Nikon with red colors, with a lens that actually has character and pop. Oh, we'll test it for vlogging. Just a side rant. Nikon, you suck at manually focusing. It's so hard to see the peaking. Even though that's the better screen, it's impossible to judge. And you can't punch in while recording, even though your ZF could. The photocentric one, that's a funny joke. So it's impossible. How do I know if I'm in focus? I don't. The focus eye tracking thing, oh, that turns green. No, it doesn't. Not with this lens. Only with native Nikon lenses. You got a lot of problems, Nicky boy. I will say the focus throw is very short. And there is a lot of focus breathing. Will you care about that? It's like a zoom lens. 24 to 31. That's a good lens. But yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. I think I'm in. So far, manual versus not. On the Sony, I don't even find it a problem. I can do 85mm, back way the hell up, punch in to 4 or 6 times. I can see the peaking, everything works good. Zebras at the same time. I should have got it for this mount, but I hate you, Sony, you're disgusting. Look at what you did to my face. So it's like, yeah, it can be done if you have the right system, but Nikon, for some reason, sucks at what they do. Their peaking is not good. This has nothing to do with the lens itself, but so far, first impressions, you got the pop. You got the Voigtlander style. Nowadays, with autofocus being so reliable, it's hard to want to get a manual only lens, but there are times where maybe you're in a different system. You're in Canon or something, and they're not reliable. You turn your head once, usually it jumps to the background. I see it hunting all the time. Even this R5 II dual pixel autofocus was reliable when it was first invented, and then it slid downhill fast, like a toboggan on Halloween. I just stopped it down to 2.8. Are we sharper now? Am I finally in focus for once? We have a little bit more leeway. Could be working fine. I want to do a little low light test, but first, let us check the tone quality and the minimum focus distance. Is this a macro lens? And then we go vlog. If you're curious, the minimum focus distance is that only. So it's not like a macro lens, but you can see the 3D pop. Oh my goodness. Comes with a cool little lens hood, just slides on. That's a little cap that comes off, just clicks on. That was a beautiful demonstration. But yeah, it's definitely not a macro lens, but if you back up just one time, you get some done. You get the done. Does it swirl? A little, maybe. I don't know. It's not bad. Pretty good. Beautiful done. How big will they get? That's what she said. Not to me. She knew the answer. Not much bigger. I'll leave. Sun stars. Oh, they are glorious. Glorious sun stars. There for all to see. They're spiky. Spiky stars. Wow. Okay, bonus test that has nothing to do with anything. I want to see who's better in low light, Nikon or Sony. We're both at 4.5. I think no electronic contacts that I see, so I can't see the F number here, and I'm between 4 and 5.6 on the thing, and there's 2 clicks between them, so I don't know. I'm up above 4, but not quite 5.6. We're at 10,000 ISO right now. Sony's worst ISO, both 10,000. Let's bump up to the clean version. Who's cleaner? 12,800. This is Sony's second base ISO. This was the king in low light. It should be cleaner, but is it dull and smeared? This could be sharper. We're in 4K RAW. And as a side test, after we go to the max ISO of this and match it, we'll do 6K RAW, because for some reason it's noisier. Okay, here's 51,200 on both. I'm not seeing any flickering shadows. That's a made-up myth. I just debunked it. That looks good. That is good, flashing good times. Sony's bullshit. Nikon wins, right? I think so. I have a feeling it's even worse in 6K. Welcome to the cinema. Huh? It's like a light show. On the screen it's flashing pretty unusable style, but whatever. Sony's clinical and alien-like. It's a Thypoch lens. Come on, that's beautiful. 4.5. That's the lens you want. I actually reached out to the engineers at the Thypoch industry, and they said they designed this lens for vlogging initially, and that's why they actually did it. Flare about to happen? Yep, that was interesting. The lens hood has a little hole in the top corner. Not loving that waterproofing, but whatever, that's designed for some reason that is beyond me. So can you vlog with it? The answer is probably. We're at 5.6 just to have a slight chance of being in focus for once in our lives. It's a real pain in the ass, this Nicky boy, but I brought the Canon EF 24mm 1.4 because that's kind of a competitor to this, and the Viltrox with the Sony, so we'll do a little 3D pop test and I give you my thoughts. Is this worth getting through my affiliate links? And that's what that might have looked like if I was wide open. Sun is very flattering today. Not in focus, doesn't matter, doesn't have to be. Okay, I have a feeling this is going to be one of those situations where we learn nothing, but right now we have the Viltrox 28mm 4.5 versus the Canon EF 24mm 1.4 at 4.5. This is a very flat lens on the Sony. This is a poppy lens, but the background blur has been removed out of the equation, and here we have that. Now I'm going to stop open the Canon just to see the difference, and then we try the Thypoch and see if it can compete with the Canon pop factor. Now we're wide open on the Canon, no lens hood that sun is directly into that lens. That's a problem. But did that increase the pop? I'm still not sure where I stand on the Tony's to correct for 3D pop. If it's like just the background blur that I'm noticing, or if it's something completely different. So now let us switch to the Thypoch and see if it has the same pop as the Canon boy. Okay, Thypoch, now's your chance. There's a slight chance I'm in focus. I like the odds. I focused on that little tripod. Take that. You can come, it's okay. No, he's not coming. I started talking because I thought he would ride past me and it was gonna be so cinematic as he rode off into the sunset. Now we're at 4.5, both. And I feel like it punched in closer. My head's kind of, it zoomed in like we were talking about before. So my thoughts on this lens, I like these guys. There's a Voigtlander 28mm 1.5 that is like basically competition to this, but it's like 1,050, whereas this is like 700 American. That's 91 million Canadian. So it's another company to keep your eye out for. What are they going to release next? If you don't like this focal length, maybe they have something else. They have a 35 1.4, I think a 50 Tony 2, and then their whole cinema line. It's all manual focus though, so you have to know that. Was it made for vloggers? Not really, but you get this look pretty cheap. It's good. For me personally, it is annoying to manually focus. It's something I've done my whole YouTube career on and off, and I'm feeling quite done with it by now. It's like, it's so much more fun to be able to autofocus and to move. Right now I could move the shot. What am I supposed to do now? Let me tell you what to do. You find something in your frame, and then you could be in. At some point, you're kind of in focus in your own show, and if you're unsure of where that focal point is, just rock back and forth cinematically. Is there a couple in love behind me? Looks like it. Are they turning to avoid? Yeah, I have rabies. They can sense it. But once you get close enough, you can kind of tell that you're somewhat in focus. We're at Tony 2. I could be in. The blown highlights, that's not happening. You're crazy. So yeah, it's a fun lens, a good look for budget, and it's from China. You wouldn't think that they have this kind of Japanese character to them, or German ingenuity, but they're getting there. They've learned, just like AI, wide open. So not bad, Thypoch. I do not love the name, but you'll work on it. Typing it is annoying for me. For some reason, it doesn't flow with the typing every time. You try it, type it in. Thypoch. Oh, it's an awkward sequence of letters. That's something to complain about. I am. So I will leave. Decent lens. It's available, as is Bitcoin donations. Subscribe, understand it.